The Miami Heat are getting ready to retire his jersey later this month. Please welcome two-time NBA champion and Olympic gold medalist Chris Bosh. Thanks for being here, man.
Thanks, man.
Welcome, welcome. You, I think, are doing something that no one else has ever done before in the NBA, in that you are retiring from the NBA as a player, simultaneously with retiring your jersey number with the Miami Heat on the same night.
I'm happy somebody knows that, because I said, man, because we're always looking for our kind of staple and how we affect the game and affect culture and all those things. So I kind of thought about that.
Yeah.
So I'm glad. I like that.
Well, I mean, because there's other people who have championships, there's other people who are Olympic gold medalists.
I'm not getting any more of those. Which I got a few.
That's right, you do.
But no, I mean, it's something that I thought about. I said, man, I don't think nobody's ever done this. So I'm always looking, for ways, and it's other things, my other collections that I have. So I try to be that first guy.
Well, it's bittersweet, and it's really exciting that you are doing that, but it is bittersweet, and because you're not retiring when you want to. You're retiring early when you want to. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what happened?
Yeah, I mean, I had a health situation. I had blood clots the first time. Very serious issue. I was in the hospital. Very close call. I had to get tubes in my chest and the whole nine, and I had to, get surgery, and I was in the hospital for nearly 2 weeks. Terrible experience, but made it from that. And the second time, it was, it wasn't any pain or anything, but I, pretty much had something in my leg, in my calf at the time. So, I was being very proactive, trying to, all right, man, my calf is kind of sore, so let me check it out. And then, the results weren't what I wanted. And, at the time, you feel healthy, and you still are healthy and you feel good. It's just, we play basketball and, you get kicked in the leg a lot, and, so who knows, how those things transpire. But, from that day forward to now, I just had to move on and kind of, I gave it a try. I remember being in the best shape of my life, actually.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how you do that in your 30s all of a sudden?
Man, I'm telling you, I need to do it again. You know what I mean? Probably not like that, because I was probably a psycho status a little bit, but I was very motivated, and I just felt that things had been stripped away from me, which they kind of had. We had a very good team that year, and I felt we could compete for a title, and that was a big, huge deal to me, because we all know the story how LeBron moved on to the Cavaliers, and I'm a competitor, and I wanted to pretty much later on in my career do what I couldn't do when I was younger. Right. With Dwayne Wade and Udonis Haslem, co-piloting the ship. Yeah,
incredible players, obviously, and it must have been really tough to sort of, and you probably still are wrestling with the fact that you are moving on from basketball. But you, in my opinion, are someone. Look, NBA players retire every year, and so do all-stars every year. Right. But I believe that you are one of those players that people have been wondering for a long time as to what you're going to be doing. They're like, what's Chris going to do when he retires? Because you seem to be someone who's got more that you want to do, and even been people have even complained that, oh, Chris seems maybe distracted in this particular game, and it's because he's a Hinkins man's athlete and all these types of things. And so coming out of it, I think that's what a lot of people want to know about, and I want to know right now about, maybe you don't have the answer to what you're going to do next, but I do think you have lots of opinions on what players ought to do next.
No, yeah, absolutely. I will tell people that as much as it seemed like I was doing a lot of things, basketball was, I focused so much on that. That was my thing.
That was it.
And I dove deep, really, very, very much so into it. I had other things that I do. You read books, and I guess if you read books, people are like, man, that guy's really smart. But I think now I'm kind of in the position of exploration. Over the last 2-3 years, I've been really exploring a lot of different things, and I kind of, You know, I have things now narrowing down fields of interest.
There's this expectation now that professional athletes are supposed to have their next business or their next, opportunity set up, when they're 25,
right?
When they retire, right? When they but there are some cool things that are athletes are doing, and they're, for example, taking ownership in teams. And as far as I'm aware, no NBA player has taken full ownership of a team.
Not full, no.
Not yet.
Not full.
Do you think that with this era of player empowerment, do you think that's on the horizon with maybe an athlete we won't name right now?
I mean, I don't know who you name.
I don't know who it could be, but he plays every spot on the floor.
Well, I would say it's a new frame of thinking. We're kind of at a stage of innovation of the traditional athlete. I think right now, we don't have a majority guy. But you've had Magic Johnson, who had a stake in the Lakers. You have Shaquille O'Neal with the Kings. You have Grant Hill with the Hawks. I'm missing one. We have one with the Grizzlies. His name is on the tip of my tongue. It's there. We don't, I think we could
Oh, I thought you were kidding. We're talking about Michael.
No. Oh, sorry. No. Memphis.
Oh, yeah, okay.
In Memphis, Michael Jordan, of course. He is the majority owner, so we do have one.
Yeah.
And he's setting the tone pretty much.
Okay, he is majority. Okay.
The thought process is there. Now it's just, going through the process of actually, wanting it and then doing it. I would say, you don't have to know what you're going to do. Good business is just really saving your money. So a good businessman, there's other ventures and things like that he could give his time to, but he doesn't really do much. His main business is his main business. And for basketball players, let me tell you something. If you're a basketball player watching, you don't have to do something right now. You just don't have to. For what? Because business, you lose money.
Yeah, no, and I see your point, and it makes absolute sense because it is really, it's easy to get carried away when you're following all these athletes. Like anyone who plays, for the Warriors, like you know that they're investors in tech, and so you think that that's what
I would put more of an emphasis on learning the space and building relationships. That doesn't necessarily mean, because it's easy to say yes, and we can definitely overextend our time, but unbeknownst to us, if we build a good rapport, and we handle ourselves correctly, and we talk to the right people, we're not, a jerk, you'd be surprised what that'll do. People still like you if that's the problem,
So were you learning esports when you were playing? Because that's something you've really gotten into lately, is you're a gamer and you've been advising teams.
Yeah, with Gen G.
Yeah.
Yes.
How did that come about?
So I've been in esports since I was 7.
Okay.
And I used to play, no, it might be 2008, 2009. It might be 09, 08, somewhere in there. But I used to play, that's back when Halo 3 was really popular. And I start getting into it, and then I hear there's professionals. This one team in particular, we used to play online all the time. Their name was Final Boss. And so they were a professional Halo team back in the day. So we would play online every now and then. They, shoot me up, but I would get better. And it was like, oh, I'm really playing with pros. This pro gaming thing is crazy. In Toronto, I played this guy in Madden, and I've always kept my eye on it because it's always been so fascinating. I used to play a lot of video games, so I've grown with the space, and then a good friend of mine, his name is Philip Hume, and we met during CES, just doing some other stuff, and we kind of just linked up, and we had dinners. He brought his kids over to my kid's birthday party, and the more we talked, he said, "Man, can you come by our headquarters?" And one thing led to another, and now I'm pretty much kind of advising the guys on how to deal with the pressures.
Are you investing in this team?
No, no. They brought me on as pretty much just a member of the team.
I see.
To really help these guys understand, because what happens is, when you go from nobody knowing you to rich and famous and athlete, you get an influx of things in a world you never knew existed.
That's a really good point about esports, especially.
And that's going to be
So no interest in owning a team or partial ownership of a team?
I mean, yeah, that's always kind of a fun thing to think about. But, you know, right now I'm learning the space. I'm, you know, talking to the players, seeing where they're coming from, seeing the similarities and, you know, the households they come from, likes, interests, what motivates them, you know, things of that nature. You know, just things for a team building setup. I just, you know, am really, really learning the space. And then, you know, the NBA, I think they already have one professional team per team now.
That's true, yeah.
You know, in the 2K league, you know, and there's more coming, so.
The industry, I mean, if 5 years ago we wouldn't even have had that particular conversation, right? About, you know, someone like you advising or coaching, you know, an E-League team, and the league has just changed so much. It's more popular than it ever has been. And you know, it's changed from the day you came into now. And I'm curious to know, like what are some, like, maybe just like one or two of the biggest differences you've seen as an athlete or an NBA player today versus when you joined, and then maybe also
in the league?
Yeah, you know what it might be like for someone who's 10 years younger than you.
The game's a lot faster.
Yeah.
You have to be more skilled. You know, that's pretty apparent, and you know, we're in a phase where kind of the big man has to catch up a little bit. You know,
right. You got to be able to shoot three.
Yeah, you got to be able to shoot three.
What about also as a business person being, you know, in the league? As a, you know, you're also a business person. You, at the end of the day, you're getting paid to play.
Right. Well, part of the business is the things that come along with your business. So I think a lot of times, you know, the coverage is getting more mainstream. And more people know about it.
People always paying attention.
Absolutely.
Camera phones everywhere.
Guys you have to deal with that.
Yeah.
And there's always these unknowns that come when you know you get those.
But you're expected to like have a shoe, and you're expected to maybe it'd be a 25-year-old advising an E-League team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. You're expected to.
Yeah.
You can learn what that means first.
Sure.
Instead of, you can do it. I'm not saying you can't do it, but sometimes people they're like that. Sometimes you might not understand. Sometimes you might not like it.
Sure.
I've gone into a business and built a business, and this one was actually pretty decent. I was doing ties, and ties wasn't my thing. After 2 years, you just concentrate on for 2 years, and you give all your free time. Then it's like, I don't want to do this.
I would love to see this.
And it's great, you know, it was actually working, but it's like, man, it's not in there, you know.
Well, so this is a good segue to the next question, which is, and I have a feeling I know the answer, but basketball, would you consider it to be a creative outlet, a creative medium for you?
Oh, yeah.
In what ways was it creative beyond what might be the obvious to a viewer?
I think, you know, the mental preparation, the art form of playing well consistently in different aspects of the game, you know, the art form of being a leader. That's really hard, you know, motivating people every day.
And that's something you're big on, and you've tried really hard to do. Can cultivate dinners and
you know, getting the guys together, organizing the guys. Hey, we're on the road, but I'm got the group text going.
Yeah, birthdays.
All right, where are we gonna eat? Do you have a table for 10? I'm doing, you know, and then, you know, everybody doesn't show up. You know, 2 guys show up, but you've got to still, you know, stay motivated and go on as things go, and just trying to, you know, put yourself in that position. People don't see that. That's really hard. And then, you know, I would say, yeah, just trying to be effective, man. That's really hard. And, you know, going out there and, you know, expressing yourself and, oh, I'm going to attack. This is going to be my point of attack on this particular team today because, you know, they're weak here and I'm strong here, or I'm weak right now here, so let me work this way. It's, you know, and then you try to just, you know, master that.
Sure. Here's a counter to the creative, you know, angle, which is that, you know, we're in this Moneyball era of basketball. It's very stats driven,
For sure.
right? But you were a stats person before it was cool to be into stats, as far as, like, you know, how a player played and where they mostly shot from, things like that.
Yeah, for sure. Me and my man Shane Battier, we would always, you know, talk numbers. And we have these reports, and we're just looking at them. And I believe in using as a tool. I think we're still trying to translate that information, and a lot of people don't know what they're talking about.
How's it being used well?
I don't know.
How is it being used poorly?
I would say I don't know if it's poorly or not, but the part I don't like is like I see guys sitting out more, and I guess it's more me being from the other generation. But if you could play, play. You know, and they're, oh, you know, I'm resting, and it's 20-year-olds resting. Like, we weren't even allowed to do that. You know, I hate to say we, because you sound like an old dude or something like that. But it's true. I mean, you know, I would like to see guys, sometimes that's what it's about. It's about the grind. You have to go and work some days you don't feel like doing it. You know, and I think that builds up a better mental fortitude for when you need to push through, like, you know, winning or something like that, or when the cards are really on the table, you know, you go through. Anybody that's, the Warriors guys, they can rest.
Sure.
Anybody outside of that, for what? You know, and that's kind of the part that I don't particularly agree with.
And you think that is mostly driven by statistics?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And the threes. The threes, I like good threes.
Yeah.
But just threes, it's like,
You don't like threes from half point? Or half court?
If you can make them, if you can, Steph Curry's threes from half court, I'll live with it every day.
It's interesting what you're talking about with this motivation or drive, or the way you were coached as an old player. And I'm wondering how that came into play, going back to, you know, the reason for you retiring. And maybe even, because like, look, that to me, that diagnosis would scare the heck out of me. But the fact that you were like, the first diagnosis, you were like, yeah, no, I'm gonna push through. Do you think that your previous experience and the way you were coached and the way you grew up had any reason, was like kind of the driving force behind you going, you know what, I'm gonna keep going?
Yeah, no, that's what helped me win a championship.
Yeah. So what questions did you ask yourself, though, when you know, that first time when they said, look, Chris, this is
the first time there was no questions to ask. I had to go to the hospital, like, you should have went last week. We need to put you in now. You can't leave the next 24 hours.
Okay, and you thought you were going to get better, but like after the second time and the heat said no, then what questions, you know, to yourself were you asking?
Well, I mean, what does this mean? Where am I going? What you know, what do you mean? Like, what happens next? Because I'm going to play basketball. Yeah. You know, that's going to happen. Okay. It's just a matter of where, I guess. But then
you stepped away, and then your questions to yourself.
I mean, I would, you know, what's next? I mean, what am I going to do? Yeah. What makes me happy? What is going on?
Were you able to kind of catch up on the world and pop culture and the news all of a sudden?
You know, pop culture to a certain extent. I find myself, I faded away more so from,
You're not producing more rap songs?
I am, actually. That's the funny part.
I figured you might be.
But you're too busy just producing and not really, you know, seeing what's out there. Yeah.
So we were talking about how it changed, about how the NBA had changed from 10 years ago, you know, more or less, you know, and then today. And then I'm thinking, what are as you're an old, wise player now, what are some of your predictions for the NBA? Just, you know, a couple in the next, you know, 5 years, because it's going to change a lot.
I think you're going to see, I don't know how fast it's going to be. Just know the future looking at it, but you're going to see an influx of very tall guys. If the NBA, if you think it's not tall enough, it's going to get taller. Yeah. You know, we're about to get in the era where, you know, Steph Curry has influenced a generation of guys, and thank God for him, because, you know, the smaller dudes would, you know, have a tougher time. You're going to see an influx of the guys that Kevin Durant, LeBron, you know, I think Ben Simmons is the first one. Sure. Giannis. Yeah. You know, of that. Guys saying, oh, I can be 7 feet and be a guard. Yeah, right. You can't tell me that I can't. That's how, I mean, oops, excuse me. Okay. That's what happened to me, you know what I mean? But, you know, that's kind of, you know, my thought process, and just seeing kind of where the, you know, the thing is going.
It's all right. Sorry, it's all right. We're making a mess here.
I talk with my hands all the time. That's right. But yeah, I think that's where the that's where the game's going. I think there's going to be an influx of guys. I think on a global scale, you're going to see more talent coming from different parts of the world. I think eventually you're going to see more competition globally. I think that's going to be really cool. The NBA just announced the African League. Right.
Isn't Obama involved with that?
Yeah. I mean, it's great. You know, and we had been, you know, I've been going to Africa for a while and just kind of seeing the growth and you know, the murmurings of it. I'm like, okay, yeah, man, no, 2020, let's do it.
So one and done. Should we get rid of it?
Yeah.
So
what does it do?
Yeah,
I think it messes up the college game.
Sending players to do 1 year of college before they're allowed to go to the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, it creates a difficult dynamic because if a guy is good enough and his skills are good enough now, so if the school pays him or gives him things to be comfortable for him to go there for 8 months, everybody's in trouble and there's an investigation and, the kids lose out on everything in the university.
So Zion, should he be in the NBA this year?
Yeah. Why not? I mean, come on, he's running over. Is it really competition out there? He's #1 country, #1 team in the country. They have 3 of the top 5 prospects.
He's exploding shoes.
Yeah, I mean, he's breaking through shoes and just doing the same exact things he was doing in high school. Yeah, I mean, I don't see why. I mean, if it's they can play in the G League for a year, but you can be signed by a team.
Chris, we're running out of time. We only have about 30 seconds left. I don't want to know who the next LeBron is going to be. I want to know who the next Chris Bosh is going to be. That stretch 5.
I don't know, man. There's so many good guys out there. I'm just, I just love watching the young guys play. I'm still looking for that dude. I like to bring fire and passion on the court, so that's what I need to see.
Well, Chris Bosh, I appreciate you being here, and I wish you the best of luck to what you are doing next. I will be following it closely.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny. My dad wrote me something about you, and he wanted to say that in 2002, Chris Bosh blocked Kendrick Perkins 7 times, and Dallas Lincoln destroyed Beaumont Ozone in a beating for the ages. Perkins was never recovered.
We got him pretty good. Was it 7 times?
My dad's pretty on that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's when basketball was like real for me. It was like, no, we have to win today. But I was a part of a great team in high school.
Well, thank you so much for watching South by Southwest Live, and please make sure to tune in. You can go to southbysouthwest.com/live and see all of our interviews.